I don't think people realized when it came out how big of a hit Arcane was going to be. Sure, it's an adaptation of a hugely popular video game, but its reach has gone far beyond that. The animation style, performances, and writing have all received critical praise, and positive word of mouth quickly led Arcane to spread like wildfire beyond just the video game fans. I got into the series just as the last act was released, and I gotta say it is definitely one of the best shows I watched in all of 2021. I want to talk about Arcane, and how I think the tools they were working on with this project could be used for other franchises, specifically Star Wars. Let's do this. So the first thing I want to get into is why I'm linking these two projects together. I'm not just trying to game the algorithm by mashing popular projects into one video. I've already failed at that. While watching Arcane, something about it really spoke to the Star Wars obsessed part of my brain. And I found this one quote from Arcane co-creator Alex Yee.
Arcane is a story of duality. How characters become divided across two halves of a city with values and opportunities that are opposite but complementary, each with their own merits and flaws. You may be the hero in your story, but the villain in someone else's.
And that speaks to my feelings here. We all know Star Wars is a story about light and dark. Star Wars mostly plays with that in the binary. You are good or evil, and you only really shift directly from one to the other. One of the few nuanced moments in the original trilogy is when Luke struggles with killing his father, dressed all in black, in a scene that has tons of dark shadows highlighting his inner turmoil. Luke, as he delves deeper into the Force, is a character who struggles between that balance. I mean, he's a badass who never makes any mistakes. Nuance is at the core of Arcane. Characters are rarely either good or evil, and often we not only see, but empathize with what they're going through. This is something we need more of in Star Wars. We get the smallest taste of that in Mandalorian Season 1, on what he should do with the child, but I think we should dig deeper on that. I've got a feeling we're going to get that from the Acolyte series, but I feel like that just comes from the fact that something about the logo tells me that. I guess we'll have to see.
You may be the hero in your story, but the villain in someone else's.
Let's touch on style for a second. Arcane gives us some great visuals, both in and outside of the action. Its base visual style is strong, and each time it pushes itself further, it really nails it. I'm not going to get too deep on this, because I've already laid out all my thoughts on that in the video that no one watched that I made on Visions, but needless to say, I think we can get a little crazier in Star Wars. So Star Wars, specifically the prequel era, has had an interesting relation to politics. Fans are not into the long conversations and Senate scenes, especially in Attack of the Clones. After those films, the franchise pulled away from the politics, pushing it to the sidelines, focusing on the classic story of toppling an empire in the sequel films, and the Western pastiches of the current TV lineup. Arcane uses politics in its series in a way I appreciate. It centers mainly on Jace and his experiences digging further into Piltover's council. I think that really works, because we're experiencing it through a single character's perspective and understanding their motivations, while also getting to go with them as they dig further into the corruption. The prequels have Padme as our POV character in the Senate, but she is much more of a witness in many scenes, and I feel like that works a lot less. She has no drive in the Senate other than general do-good mentality, and that's definitely a weakness of how they handled their political storyline. On the topic of characters, that's my biggest takeaway from Arcane. It's the character-driven storytelling. That really is all I want. Good character-driven stories. In an interview about the series, co-creator Christian Link said,
"When we set out to produce Arcane, we knew that we had something really special with the story of Jinx and Vi. We wanted to explore the idea of what you do for your family, what values you'd compromise, and the conflict you'd endure."
And I love how, no matter how you come at the series, it brings you to the relationship of these sisters at the core. These complicated characters, both neither entirely good or evil, trying to figure themselves out. To me, The Mandalorian is at its best when it's dealing with Mando discovering himself outside of how he was raised, over when it ties into the bigger Star Wars mythos. And I absolutely think that the Star Wars sequels lost themselves when they stopped focusing on the main characters that they had set up in this trilogy that were super compelling. In the end, I really enjoyed Arcane, and I'm really excited for the next season. I also like that they said they won't be rushing it out for this year, wanting to take their time to make sure it lived up to the first season. I've gone on record thinking Star Wars has been rushing out more and more projects, so I guess that's another parallel there. So that's my viewpoint on Arcane and Star Wars and how I view them connected. I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're there, leave a like, maybe subscribe. That'd be really fun. For me. Fun for me. I also couldn't work into the fact that I like the fun release schedule of Arcane, putting out 3 episodes at a time, creating these like mini arcs within the season. But there was no way to tie that in, so I'm just going to throw that out here. It's cool, and I like how it creates structure within the structure of the season. Huge thanks to my partner Sam and friend David for providing some vocal work for this video. David's channel will be linked in the description with all my socials, so you can check him out. Until the next video, maybe check out something else I've got here. And of course, have a good one.